Dear students, in this video session, we learn about the guiding principles of integrated water resource management, which is popularly known as Dublin Principle. So, this Dublin Principle is having mainly four principles, and the first one is fresh water is a finite and vulnerable resource essential to sustain life and development. See, this principle mainly tells about the fresh water, which is a finite, means it is the only one resource which is vulnerable resource. Vulnerable means once we use it, it will be lost forever, which is very essential to sustain life and the development of other activities. So this explains the first principles of the Dublin, where it is stressed about the importance of the fresh water, where it is the only one resource which is available for us, and if we make use of it, it will be lost forever, which is very essential to sustain life and development. Next, coming to the second principle, it tells about the water development and management should be based on participatory approach involving users, planners and policymakers at all levels. So this principle mainly tells about the involvement of the people at all levels, where the participation of each and every individual is very important in making the users and the different plans in allocating the water, as well as the policies which are involved at all levels. That means to say that in order to make the water resource development and management, there should be the involvement of each and every users in all of the activities, where we will be making the different approaches. That is, when utilizing the water, we will be planning some of the objectives and then formulating some of the rules and regulations, where each and every individual has to follow them. The third principle says that women play a central part in vision, management and safeguarding of water. As we all know that the women are mostly employed in most of the household activities. They are also a part of the water users, where most of the water is utilized by them. But there is no active participation of the women as compared to men in making the policies, rules and regulations. So this mainly stress about the importance of women, same as to that of the men, in making the different agendas, the rules and regulations which are involved in the integrated water resource management. Next, coming to the fourth principle, so it tells that water has an economic value in all its competing uses and should be recognized as a economic good. That means to say that managing the water as an economic good is also very important, which is helpful in achieving efficient and equitable use and of encouraging conservation and protection of water resources, which means to say that we make use of the water as a economic good also in import export business, where we need to make use of the water in a proper way without disturbing the system. So these are all the four principles of water resource management, which are popularly known as Dublin principles. Next, coming to the components of integrated water resource management. See, when we speak about the components, it is very essential to know what are the different components which are involved when we are interested in integrated water resource management. When we look into the components, it is mainly having 5 different components. First one is water resource management. Second one is purposes and services. Third one is discipline of knowledge. Fourth is government and interested group. Fifth is stakeholders group. So all these 5 components collectively compose of integrated water resource management. So if there is no one of this principle involved, then there is no integrated water resource management. So the participation of all these 5 components is very important when we are interested in integrated water resource management. So first we will see with the first component, that is water resource management. As we all know, in order to conserve the water and manage, we will be going for the integrated water resource management, where we will first start with the management of the water within a watershed or a basin, where it mainly includes integrated land and water resource, upstream and downstreams, groundwater, surface water and coastal resources. All the different types of water which are present in a particular watershed are considered, and then we'll go for the management of the available water resources. So this management mainly involves the active participation of the different institutions which are actively participating, so that they have to make use of the available water resources in a proper manner. Next, coming to the second component, that is the purposes and services. So here water resource management mainly consists of three aspects. First one is dimensions of water, second one is surface water and groundwater, third one is quality and quantity of water. So here water agencies, they mainly deal with water supply, wastewater and water quality services, stormwater and flood control, hydroelectric power, navigation, recreation and water for the environment, fish and wildlife. See, in this we see about the different dimensions of water, or the different purposes for which we are making use of the water. They may be from the surface water resources or the groundwater resources, where it is very essential to make both the quality and quantity of water to be maintained. So this mainly tells about the different purpose for which we are making use of the water, and the different services which are mainly provided through the different agencies in properly providing the water supply and sanitation facilities. The third principle is, or the third component is disciplines of knowledge. So integrated water resource management requires knowledge of disciplines, means various sectors, or through various different knowledges we can easily achieve this integrated water resource management. So it is called as the disciplines of knowledge, where blending knowledge from different disciplines such as engineering, law, finance, economics, politics, history, sociology, psychology, life sciences, mathematics and other fields can bring about the possibilities, decisions and actions. So if there is an active involvement of all the different knowledges of different sectors is involved in the integrated water resource management, then we can make use of the proper ways in which we can overcome the problem of water scarcity. For instance, engineering knowledge may be mainly focuses on physical infrastructure system, where we are making use of the different ideas or different design patterns in constructing the engineering structures, as well as maintaining the proper water storage, sanitation and other facilities. And sociology mainly focuses on human, that is the need of the human and the proper human resources and the need of what quantity of water for those human resources will be studied in detail. So in this way we need to have the knowledge of various disciplines, where we can easily go for this integrated water resource management. Next is the fourth component, that is government and interest groups. So the intergovernmental relationship between government agencies of the same level include regional, state to state and integracy issues. Relationship between different levels of government included, for example, state, federal and local state interactions. So there must be a proper interaction between the government agencies as well as the different group of peoples who are interested in making this integrated water resource management, where they can train and guide the people who are not having the knowledge of the water facilities. So the working group have an understanding of their problems and needs and of their current water system, but not of management options, impacts or decision making frameworks. So if we employ the local technical people with different tools and structure collaborative planning process, that is called as the shared visual planning, can help interest groups learn about their system and options, and jointly move towards sustainable solutions. This means to say that the government and the interested groups are the one who are mainly held responsible for giving the proper knowledge to the people who are making use of the water in a particular watershed. The last component is the stakeholders group. So stakeholders are the one where we define them as each and every individual who are involved in making use of the water resources. So as I had told you, watershed management or the basin management requires a clear understanding of stakeholders who are involved in making decisions on water and resources management in a basin and who will be affected by those decisions. So what happens is, in the top down approach of water resource management or the planning and management, we have studied about only the people who are at the higher level are given the authority to make the plans for the water resource management. But here it mainly tells about the decisions which are to be made by the each and every stakeholder is very important, because as those decisions will also affect the common people. So in order to ensure the sustainable use of water resource, integrated water resource management stresses the importance of involving stakeholders within one hydrographic basin, that authorities, institutions, the public and private sectors, and civil society, with a special focus on women and marginalized group. There are some of group of people who are kept separately, where they are not at all involved in any of the activities which are carried in a watershed. So the equal rights should be given for each and every stakeholders who are involved in a particular watershed, so that they are also involved in making the policies and decisions where they can also make use of the water resources. Hence, the components of integrated water resource management is a complex issues when these components comes into diversity perspectives. That is, the different sectoral people are also involved in the water resource management, or the planning and policy making is not at all reaching that level of people, so that this integrated water resource management will be complex until and unless each and every individual who is making use of the water is involved in both the planning and management process of the water resources system.